What's going on, everyone? Ains and Bert here from Season Gaming, and we want to talk about the Microsoft E3 conference now that we're finally awake again. It was a very long day yesterday with FanFest, Xbox Conference, and Bethesda, but wanted to kind of capture our thoughts. There was a lot shown and many games to talk through, a lot of announcements, so we just want to give our impressions and kind of give you a quick summary of everything, along with some details that seemingly people have missed. I've been chatting with a lot of people on social media this morning, and it seems that a lot of things were kind of missed, probably because Microsoft just does quick announcements or things like that, and it was a very fast show in the sense of there were a lot of things crammed into that 90 plus minutes. So let's start with just a quick overview of your general thoughts of the show.
Yeah, I thought it was, I give it about a B+. I don't want to go out of here and say it was an A+, and it was just the most amazing thing ever, but one of the things to keep in mind is being there in person is going to make us feel pretty good about it compared to people that may be watching it from home or something. The overall experience to me was just amazing. The sound quality in the theater and the screen and everything was really good. The presentation value, in my opinion, was very high. It was a lot of fun to be there. The energy in the audience was there, and one thing that I think Ains mentioned last year is that the sound that you're watching on the TV does not capture what's happening inside the theater. Inside the theater was super loud, and then even when we watched it back, I was like, man, I remember when Keanu came out, it was like 10 times louder than it was, and it was already loud inside of the video that you're watching. So it was a lot of fun, and one other thing to keep in mind is Microsoft is showing their entire product line from a gaming perspective versus just the small Xbox thing that a lot of people are maybe tuning in for. So it was a lot of fun. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it as much as we did, but we're going to share those thoughts coming up. So
yeah, I'm about right with you. I'd say probably a B+, somewhere in that range. I think there's a couple missed opportunities, but overall I think it was a really good show, and we'll talk about why I think some people are maybe a little more down than they should be. Yeah, I thought it was great, and you nailed it. Inside there was an excellent experience. Production quality is through the roof. And I think I was watching a recap of it with some other guys, and as you said, it just doesn't translate to the video, the hype level in the theater.
Right.
And you also have to keep in mind, like, we went to Bethesda afterwards, which was at a different theater, much smaller theater. And so the sound, when you hear Bethesda and you hear a lot of screaming, it's because it's a smaller place, and that sound translates better. In the Microsoft theater, it is a massive theater. They said they had over 6,000 people in there. And it's just the way it's produced is so that you don't hear it as well in there. But anyway, let's move on. So what do you think about the leaks ahead of time? The hype, there was obviously a massive amount of hype, right? Almost too much hype for this show. And then we saw a few leaks prior, in the days prior. So I don't know if that ruined the show or changed anything for it.
Yeah, so one of the things that I believe is that with social media being such a rampant area to kind of get the first take out, get that hot, news story out, I think it kind of ruins it for a lot of people that are either in the industry or following it on social media perspective. A lot of the things that would have been just big surprises at E3 were mentioned ahead of time. So when they actually showed it, we actually saw what the rumor or the leak was, and it's like, oh, okay, that's what they were talking about. So there's not a surprise coming from it. The other element is the hype side of stuff. So with Sony not appearing at E3 this year, there was this magnifying glass under Microsoft to be just this amazing conference that would blow everybody out of the water without recognizing that they're the ones that kind of launched E3 for the whole industry before E3 has started. So like I said, the presentation was so good that we have such a high expectation to what to expect from E3 coming up.
Yep, I'm with you. So, no, agree. I don't really have anything to add there. So, we'll give you the quick highlights, and then we're going to obviously go kind of line by line here and talk through the games, the announcements, our favorite things, and whatnot. So, the highlights were they showed 60 total games, 11 world premieres, including third-party stuff, of course, 14 games from Xbox Game Studios directly. They have 34 titles that they showed of the 60 that are coming to Game Pass, which is pretty incredible when you think about it, as we knew Game Pass would be a big focus. There was Game Pass Ultimate, which they talked about, and Game Pass on PC, which we'll talk more about. They did have another studio acquisition, which was pretty heavily rumored the weeks leading up to E3, which was Double Fine. I love Double Fine, big supporter of theirs, very unique games, and we'll talk more about that. And then, as we kind of knew, right, they talked about Project Scarlett and what that is. So I'll talk some more detail about that as well. But why don't we just kick off the games?
Yeah, so that's another thing about the leaks and stuff. The Game Pass Ultimate, which was mentioned in rumors and leaks, and I think you could even sign up for Ultimate the day of the conference. If you did not know that, that would have been a massive surprise, a massive, plus in your world as a gamer. But that was already talked about. They did go into more detail about it, so I thought that was really good. But yeah, to your point, let's talk about the game. So we were kind of guessing in line and stuff. What was going to be the game they were going to open up with?
We were all wrong.
Yeah, some people mentioned Halo Infinite. Some people mentioned Gears would be the kickoff.
Hey, I did say they would close it with Infinite, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, you mentioned the closing side. But they opened up with Outer Worlds. So Outer Worlds actually a very interesting game. I've likened it to like a Borderlands style game where you kind of go around in an open world all over the place, jumping from planets to planets. I thought it was pretty cool. We got the date, and another big thing from it is it's coming out on Game Pass. So you're going to hear this a lot from us as we're going through these trailers, is it's coming to Game Pass. So as we talked about a second ago as to what was Microsoft's aim, push Game Pass not only from a PC perspective but from a gaming perspective, and what is the value you can get from Game Pass. And as we're about to go through these, it is massive. So what are your thoughts on Outer Worlds?
Yeah, no, I thought it looks good. I mean, we got to see more of what people got excited for, and that old school kind of Fallout mixed with Borderlands look, like you said. I think the way they highlighted it was really strong. They showed a lot more of the game that we hadn't seen before. On October 25th, it's great that it's coming so soon. Of course, with Game Pass, that helps people playing it.
Right.
But that's right in the heart of fall, so I'm a little concerned about that. But I think it looks good, real good.
Yeah, one funny point that before we talk to the next one is we were joking about how expensive the fall is going to be. And if you're just a gamer that wants, you can't talk about what you've pre-ordered already. But if you're a gamer that just wants to play the game and you don't care about collecting, and maybe you're even a digital gamer, Game Pass is going to save you hundreds.
Yeah, well, especially we'll get the Gears 5 too, but yeah. Crazy. So these aren't directly in order, by the way, of how they were shown. We're just going to go through all the games as we see them. So we did see more from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. A little more gameplay there, and interesting kind of action segments. Some of it was reused footage from EA Play, but some was new. Yep. Not too much that really blew me away there. I'm very excited about the game, but I mean, there wasn't so much news shown that it was anything different, but still hyped for it.
Yeah, at EA Play, I guess the highlight of EA Play, which was not, as we've talked about, not very high, in our opinion. The big talk over the weekend was Star Wars. So to see an extended look here, an extended trailer was very neat. Also to see it on the big screen and everything was really cool. But nothing really new to it. I mean, we didn't see anything new from this trailer that we're like, oh, you can do this now, or this is happening now that we didn't see before. So cool to see on the Microsoft stage, but nothing really new there. But it was a cool trailer.
Yeah. So let's talk about the big one. Cyberpunk and Keanu. Cyberpunk trailer was amazing. One of our most anticipated games. I can't say enough things about it. Keanu coming out was, well, first, him being shown, in the way they showed him in the trailer was, as soon as you saw his face, the place blew up.
Yeah, the place went crazy.
I mean, it went nuts. And then, if you were there live, I know you could see it on the stream, but it was kind of like you could see everything at once, and then the door came up and you just saw his silhouette. And where we were sitting with FanFest was directly in front of where he was, right. About 10-15 rows in front of us. So it was absolutely incredible. The place went nuts. Everyone jumped up, of course. But Cyberpunk itself looks just as incredible as we expected. Yep. We figured it was coming early in 2020. We were pretty right. It's April 16th, is it?
Yeah.
April 16th. And they released the collector's edition and pre-order details yesterday as well. So overly excited for this. The only thing I told you was a very strange disappointment for me is that we're going to get Cyberpunk right at the very end of the generation, just before the new hardware launches. So I just hope that it gets re-optimized for the new hardware, because it'd be cool to play that at max.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to what you've said. The Keanu part was amazing. And the funny thing is when we didn't know that was him in the smoke yet. We thought it might have been just the game director coming out. And the second the light shone on the smoke was him, people just jumped up screaming. And it was by far the biggest thing of yesterday, I would say, from people being excited. But that was really cool. One thing about the Cyberpunk trailer is, to me, it looked even better than it did last year. From a clarity perspective, the details that they added to the game. We also know that last year was not obviously the final game in any form whatsoever, but I think people are super excited about Cyberpunk. It's going to be a great game, and it's coming towards the end of the generation, so it's going to be probably the defining game of the generation.
It could very well be, yeah. So then let's talk about Bleeding Edge.
Yeah.
So, we've heard from some they were looking for new IPs. Obviously, this one leaked a few days in advance, which is kind of disappointing. But this is a passion project for Ninja Theory, something they've been working on for years now. I know some people were down on this. I thought it looks really good.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised at how good it looked, because if you think about what's popular right now, if you look at like Apex Legends, or you look at Overwatch, or those types of games where you have those really unique character designs mixed with fast-paced combat in co-op, where you can really just get in and out of matches quickly, group up with friends, identify with characters, right? Very unique art style. Looks like there's a ton of action. The characters look amazing in my opinion. I think this looks great. We did not get a release date, but there is going to be some testing, and of course, because this is first party now for Microsoft, it'll be in Game Pass.
Yeah, that's another big thing. I had seen the screenshots of the leak that happened beforehand, and people were talking trash about it, as you'd expect on social media. I didn't know what to expect of this game at all, but when we saw it, I was like, wow, that looks really good.
It's fun.
I was surprised. The detail in the characters, it had like a Borderlands like cell shading.
Almost, yeah.
It was very similar, but I thought it was cool. I mean, I don't know how you can talk that negative about a game that you haven't really seen yet, like what's happening, but social media kind of puzzles us sometimes. So,
yeah.
But it looks cool. I'm excited to play it and excited to see more.
Yeah, and I mean, they're a dev with that type of action pedigree too.
Yeah.
I mean, they know how to do that stuff, so it could be. I think it's going to be good. All right, Minecraft Dungeons. So I know Minecraft, doesn't excite a lot of people, but it is still the most played game in the world next to Fortnite. So, Minecraft Dungeons, a little co-op 4-player action RPG version of Minecraft. I think it looked better than I expected it to look, actually.
Yeah.
It looks like a game I could get into. One of those games where you could just turn it on for an hour to, just have some fun, right? And play with some friends, play with your kids. And it's a little different. It takes that Minecraft aesthetic that everyone knows now. It's part of the culture, right? But it adds a different gameplay element, which for people like you is probably good because you never really got into the current Minecraft. I thought it looks great, and this is going to be huge. It's Minecraft, so and again, Game Pass.
Game Pass, multiplayer, dungeon crawler. Sign me up. I can't wait to play it. It looks really fun. I think it's going to just attract the people that maybe were not into dungeon crawling before, that play Minecraft. They're immediately going to take a second look at it right away. And then for us that don't love Minecraft from the building perspective, it pulls us in too. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a very successful game. Coming to a lot of places. Let's switch PlayStation 4, but big thing, Game Pass, like you just said, so you'll be able to play it on day one.
Yeah, for free. Well, not for free, right? We always say that, but if you're a subscriber. But it also, so think about this too, like it for kids, it'll get kids into that isometric dungeon crawling kind of game, right? Like a Diablo style game, but it's much more entry level for kids, while using the Minecraft name, which means everybody's going to play the damn thing, at least try it, right? So I think that'll be a huge game, and that's spring 2020, by the way.
Right.
So another game coming in spring.
No firm release date, just spring.
Right. So we did have a ID at Xbox sizzle reel, as we knew we would, right? A lot of games there. I'm not going to call out any game in particular. I thought a few of them looked really interesting. What we did get confirmation from Sarah Bond was that every single game shown in the sizzle reel will be on Game Pass on day one launch. So a lot of cool indie games. I'm a big indie game player. If you just love games in general, most people are. And just great to hear that, there's just going to be a wealth of games constantly coming.
Yeah, the idea at Xbox program, in my opinion, is a very cool one. So I like that you can do all that stuff, and they allow developers to kind of do things in there. And the play it right away thing is just going to add to the library of games that you can play. Just check out, see what a developer has to offer, and then you can kind of run with that. So I thought it was very, very cool. Cool presentation on there as well. So
yeah, I always love those sizzle reels. Just I have a lot of fun with them. So here's one that I didn't see anything on prior and surprised the hell out of me, was Flight Simulator. For those who may not be as old as we are, Flight Simulator was a defining game for a lot of people. It was a very, very popular game. It was not revolutionary, but borderline, I would say, in some ways. And so to see this return and to see what they said about it, right, which is everything's in 4K, it was captured using Google satellite data, and running with Azure cloud-based AI, or cloud, something to do with Azure it's running on. means, I think, from what they showed in the video, that it's using real-time locations basically and mapping them out as it would look in real life, which is hugely interesting.
Yeah.
And the clarity and the detail was incredible.
Yeah.
So while this may have landed a little flat for some, you have to understand that this could turn into something very big. This is a very big thing for a lot of people, and to see it come back in 2019, 2020 with this level of detail, people could really, really enjoy this.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't recognize that back in the 90s and 80s, we almost used Flight Simulator almost as a PC test.
Yeah, yeah.
And you would see who had the better PC to launch your Cessna airplane from so-and-so airport and cruise to the next destination. And I thought it was just amazing to see. I was super excited. The crowd didn't really go nuts as I thought they would, but the second that airplane took off, I was like, that's Flight Simulator, it's gotta be. And then as we saw, and I remembered, it was a Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah, exactly.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, it's cool. I hope people give it a chance to at least see what it's about. It's really cool to be a pilot of all kinds of different airplanes and take off from different places. Another thing that the trailer showed to me that was kind of cool was they were sightseeing in like the pyramids in Egypt.
That's what I mean. Like, I think like
San Francisco. And
getting to feel like you're flying through real environments could be really, really neat, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people don't get to visit those places, so
No.
it's pretty neat.
And the weather hit. I saw lightning, and then it was raining and stuff. I mean, it was cool for everything to happen. So yeah, very cool. We're excited about that one. We'll definitely check it out. And on Game Pass. So
Ori. So we knew we'd see Ori, right? Or we thought we would. It probably the best I think it's ever looked. They showed a wealth of different environments and colors. It is honestly one of the most stunning games to see running in, you know, kind of 4K HDR. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I think this is going to be one of those that is just blows everyone away. It's going to be one of those best 2D games of the generation, in my opinion, when it launches. Was a little surprised. So it's coming February 11th, 2020. Last year, if you remember, they said 2019. So they are obviously just letting Moon Studios take their time with this one, which is a good thing. A little later than I expected, but I'm in no rush. It can come out in February. I'm pumped for it. I'll play it day one regardless.
yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pushed it back just because the fall is nuts anyways.
Could be. Yeah, maybe they weren't ready by like
we-
August, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, social media went ablaze saying that there's something wrong with the game or something, as social media usually, just like I said a second ago, is just head scratching at times. But the fall's crowded as it is. I'm not sure if you're one of the people that's just waiting for Ori and everything else gets ignored in the fall or what, but it looks beautiful. The music was awesome during the trailer as well, as always. So very excited to play that one. If you haven't played the first one, play it. Even that one's beautiful, and this one's gonna trump it by far.
Yeah, yeah. So here's one that I got super excited for. I don't think anybody leaked. Nobody even knew what it was at first. When the trailer first came up, I leaned over to you and I said, this may be the Bloober Team horror game I heard about, and that was true. So apparently Bloober Team and Microsoft or Xbox teamed up and they're making Blair Witch. And this looks creepy as hell, which of course means I love it. And shockingly, it's coming August 30th. So they've obviously been working on this one for a while. And I'm wondering, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Xbox must be publishing this game because it said Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
And so here's another game coming in 2 months, new horror game. For those of you not familiar with Bloober Team, they're the guys that made Layers of Fear 1 and 2, that 2 just came out. Very, very good game, and they made Observer 2. So they've kind of, rolled in that horror genre. I mean, this looked, I thought this looked great.
Yeah, for me, and this is my crazy fanboy mind traveling away, I thought it was Alan Wake.
Oh, no.
The first thing happened, he was running, and he ran into that house, and in the next scene, he was running in the forest, and he flashed his flashlight
Yeah, he did.
on one of the enemies, and the enemy kind of disintegrated. And I was like, Alan Wake? Could it be?
The world would have gone nuts.
Yeah, but it wasn't. And at the same time, the more I saw that trailer, I fell in love with what I was seeing. And as Dan, who is not here, would say, bring it on.
I don't think you'd say that about Blair Witch.
No, that's right. That could be the game for backseat gaming right there.
Yeah. When he came back in, it was like almost like a time warp, right? And he came back in and turned, and the body was facing the corner, like the end of the first movie. I was like, oh man, this is brilliant. So.
And then the camera dropped, and it kept.
Yeah.
The other thing is the camera mechanics look really cool.
Yeah. So I hope that plays well. Hope it's well optimized. Really cool to see that, and really cool that it was completely a shock.
Yeah.
We did then get some kind of PC Game Pass related stuff. So Age of Empires 2 remastered, very big game for the PC crowd and real-time strategy crowd. I'm not a big player of those, but again, I think it's great for that crew. Yep. Football Manager, some other things they talked about for PC Game Pass there.
Yeah, they did mention there was going to be 100 games available that have been curated just for PC.
They did mention how many were unique to PC, and I forget what the number was.
That's correct. I can remember what it was. I know the crowd went crazy for Football Manager 2019. We actually had a guy behind us that started cracking up when it showed Football Manager, and I think it was Metro Exodus or something like that was on that screen. We cracked up too. So we're not really sure what that's going to turn into, but Game Pass on PC I'm sure is going to expand quite a bit. We were actually messing with it on Ains' computer here to see if we could see what's there.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. I mean, it's part of the Ultimate Pass if you're getting that. If you're a PC-only player and you have an Xbox Live account and you're going to go with Ultimate, I mean, it makes sense to give it a try. There's no reason not to. You got nothing to lose. It's part of your subscription. So they did talk about that quite a bit, and as we talked about, Xbox offers a service overall. It's not just meant to be played on the Xbox console only, and they're only going to expand that over time. So I thought it was cool for them to kind of plant that seed of what's going to be happening with Game Pass Ultimate, Xbox Live in general. So cool to see. But yeah, Age of Empires is kind of a little nostalgia watching that. You know,
for sure.
We at our age, as we joke about our age, Age of Empires was a massive game back in the day with the StarCrafts and the Warcrafts and Command and Conquer. So it's cool that they're bringing that, to the masses.
Yeah. And for those of you who might have missed it, Game Pass on PC's in beta right now. You can download it and play. So go for it. Excuse me. So then another first-party title we knew was in development from inXile. We saw it briefly. It was Wasteland 3. So Wasteland, if you're not familiar, is from some of the original creators of the Fallout series, Fallout 1 and 2, before it went Bethesda went 3D. These guys created Wasteland 1 and 2, which is more like an XCOM post-apocalyptic type game. So we knew Wasteland 3 has been in development for a long time. We got a good look at it. Looks pretty damn good. I think this is great. I don't think we got a release date here, but of course, being that it's first party now, again, it'll be in Game Pass, but pretty cool.
Yeah, I rewatched the trailer to look for a release date. I didn't see one. But it is cool to see, more of Wasteland. Is Wasteland 2 available on Game Pass right now? Or Wasteland
One of them is. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it is. So if you're kind of, I guess, don't know much about the series, check it out for now. But the trailer was actually pretty comical too.
Yeah,
that's cracking people up. But it looks cool. I'm excited to try that one as well. And we'll see when it comes out. This was just an announcement trailer.
Yeah. God, man, there's a lot of games to go through. They showed a lot.
Yeah, to that point, when we were watching it, your heart was beating a certain way for so much, and after each, it said world premiere, world premiere,
it's
world
just so
premiere.
fast.
I was just like, I need a break. I need a break. There's so much happening, and I think that's something that gets lost in translation for people that watch pieces of it. And they're like, that's all Xbox had. I mean, you were just bombarded with content.
Yeah, we said last night, not to kind of jump into our list here, but we said last night people were kind of disappointed, and I was thinking, honestly, I think they just showed so much, people were forgetting some of the things they showed. I'm looking at this list, we're not even halfway through the stuff they showed, so we'll keep going here, but there's a huge list to cover. So Dying Light 2, we saw in the Xbox conference, looks really, really good. They showed a little more of they showed last year how it's going to be like you make decisions that impact the city, right? And you can go obviously evil, you can go help people, or there's going to be these moral choices that you have to make. So they showed the lead character, they spoke about him a little bit, they showed some more of the action, the parkour, of course. It just looks really, really good. I did not see a release date unless I missed it. But I'm pumped about this one.
Yeah, not in the trailer. I think they have talked about it's going to be ready in 2020. Spring of 2020. I'm just not sure on an exact release date. I think Ains will take a look at it. But talk a little bit about Dying Light. So Dying Light 1 started out pretty good, kind of slowed down, and then they're known as having some of the best DLC around. The developer's a great team. We actually played it a bit multiplayer. Had some hilarious experiences together. It's a great world to go into and check out. So a lot of fun in that game. This one just looks super polished, super high quality. I wonder if Techland just said, let's give them a lot more money this time.
They said it's going to be easily their most advanced game ever.
It's something to behold, I think. And the parkour, I think, since Mirror's Edge kind of started that, jumping around, sliding, doing all that stuff, Dying Light took it to another level. And now Dying Light 2 looks like it's even gone another level to how you move around.
Yeah, so it is spring 2020.
Yeah,
that's all they said. But so spring 20. It's June, and spring 2020 is already filling up.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. All right, so then this was a huge thing for me in particular too. Is Phantasy Star Online 2? Is when they came out and said Sega, and for us old school Sega guys, you get excited when you see that. And then they said for the first time in the West, and I saw the first character come on.
Yep.
I looked at you and I said, can't be Phantasy Star, is it?
Phantasy Star last year. Yeah.
I'm like, wait, and then we started watching, and yeah, first time coming to the West. If you're not aware of why this is a big deal, Phantasy Star Online was revolutionary when it first came out on Dreamcast, right? It was like almost like Destiny, but 10 years before Destiny came out. It was that co-op online dungeon raiding. You get loot, you get abilities, whatnot.
Using that modem on that Dreamcast.
Yeah, oh yeah, I dialed up. But people have been wanting to play this in the West for a long, long time. So the fact that this is coming to console, coming to Xbox, has all of the content that's been made for the game over the past several years, super exciting. I thought this is awesome.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, it's free. In the trailer, they were mentioning it's going to be free and you can play it all together with it.
I think you're exactly right. Yeah, I forgot
so that's a massive thing. One thing that the more we talk about this, the more I'm seeing that Xbox has catered to a number of generations in their games.
Oh yeah.
And so Phil Spencer, being a pretty big gamer in general, can kind of look at things. Another thing that you're going to hear us talk about here is that Phil Spencer has tried to reach out and look around the world for numerous types of games, and Xbox has received criticism in the past that they don't have enough Japanese type games on their console. So the fact that Phantasy Star, which at one time was the pinnacle of these types of games, and now we're getting part 2 coming to, as they said, the West and pretty much the world actually, is a big deal. So if you're just like, who the hell cares about Phantasy Star? There's a bit of nostalgia and a little bit of history there that you just need to be aware of before you draw those conclusions, because it's a pretty big deal in the gaming world for people that are over 30.
Yeah. And a lot of people still play it, to your point. To that point too, Phil actually mentioned an interview with Major Nelson the other day that he likes to get a wide variety of games on the stage. Everyone's like, why don't they show more Gears campaign? And we'll get to all that, of course. But if you look at the breadth of the games that were shown, you had everything, every genre, from a tiny one developer game all the way up to AAA big budget games, and so that's what they focus on. Yeah. So I think people miss that too. And speaking of which, going from Phantasy Star Online, a world game, to something much, much smaller, Battletoads. So we knew we'd see Battletoads. We knew that this was really just an homage to the past. This is not a rethinking of Battletoads. This is 3-player co-op, 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up, and that's exactly what we saw. I know, there's a lot of nostalgia here. There's a lot of people who are like, it doesn't look that great, and I didn't think it looked like anything special, but it is Battletoads. If you like that game, it looks good. If not, no big deal. It's not interesting.
Yeah, when the briefing opened up, they had like a little sizzle reel really quick, kind of like the way Marvel brings all their characters in and they have everything. Yep. I saw what looked like Battletoads in there. I was like, was that Battletoads? Because we hadn't seen actual gameplay of Battletoads yet. And they showed it. It looks cool. I mean, it's a goofy thing. I thought it was almost a mobile game to see kind of the way the art style was. But I don't really know what I was expecting. After playing the Killer Instinct game and seeing the Battletoads characters in there, I think a lot of people were thinking that they were taking a more mature / realistic take on Battletoads. The opposite here. They were going more of a old school type game. And so the only thing that I hope is it's not as hard as the original one, because I sucked at the original one. And I had very little patience for it back then. I probably still have very little patience for over-the-top hard games.
Well, it's a Game Pass.
Yeah,
so
it's Game Pass.
Yeah, you can just play it and try it. If you don't like it, whatever. Yeah. But some people are commenting on the art style, which did seem a little unique. Keep in mind, it is all hand-drawn. They said that last year. So, when a game is hand-drawn, obviously it's going to look a little different than when it's polished. Even if it's a 2D game made with polygons, very different in that regard. So, all right. So one of our favorite announcements the whole show, Psychonauts 2. Yep. Both of us are huge Psychonauts fans. We might as well talk about the Double Fine acquisition as well. So, heavily rumored ahead of time.
Yeah, ruined by leaks again.
As usual.
Yeah.
There was a rumor that there were going to be multiple studio acquisitions. Whether or not that's a rumor or not, it seems kind of strange to go into a conference thinking, they're going to just buy multiple companies again. That's not a normal thing. So the fact that they did have another studio acquisition, it's a studio like Double Fine, who are hugely creative. They make very unique games, typically pretty high quality. If you follow Double Fine, I'm a big fan of theirs. That's part of the Kickstarter thing that they had years ago. If you follow them, they have a very talented team. Tim Schafer's got a great mind for games. Oh, yeah. The struggle they've always had is really funding. Yeah. They've always struggled with funding. And so if you think about that from this perspective, the way Microsoft, I keep saying Microsoft, I guess it's both, Xbox is approaching these new development studios is giving them the funding and what they need, but letting them have creative freedom. So just thinking about what Double Fine can now produce, knowing they have the Xbox team's funding and backing, but keeping that creativity should really result in some great things. And I also hope it's going to polish Psychonauts 2 up to the next level as well.
Yeah, I also felt the trailer for Psychonauts 2 looked sharper.
Looks so good.
Yeah, we saw like a teaser, was it last year or maybe even this fall? I can't remember when the teaser came out for it. I was like, oh, it looks pretty good. And then I played the PSVR Psychonauts game, and I thought that looked really good too. But seeing this new trailer, it looked extremely polished.
Yep.
The platforming in the game looked just awesome. I remember one of the things, they were jumping on teeth to get to the area, and then some of the old characters were back, some of the bosses were back from the first one. I'm so excited, I even bought the limited run game Psychonauts game recently that came out, and we both have the Xbox One, and that's backwards compatible. So very, very fun to kind of see Double Fine coming through. Like I said, it was just a letdown that it was leaked ahead of time. I think if we didn't have that and we saw Tim Schafer come on stage and there was like, we have acquired Double Fine, we would have been just jumping out of our seats.
Yeah, I love Tim Schafer, man. He's hilarious.
Very cool personality.
One other thing to be aware of here is that apparently Microsoft bought the publishing rights for the game back from Starbreeze as well. So this is going to be a Microsoft published game, Psychonauts 2, which of course means Game Pass. So now if you're on Xbox, you don't have to buy the game separately. So, but from what we understand, Microsoft's been pretty good about keeping the games on platforms from these developers. So I think Psychonauts 2 will still release PS4, PC, etc. They're not going to pull it back. So just great, super excited.
Yeah, very.
All right, let's talk about one of the big ones, Gears 5. I went Gearsed out yesterday. I was ready for it. So let's talk about a few things we know. They came out. They showed September 10th is the release date. The Ultimate Edition, which you can buy separately, or you get the Ultimate Edition of Gears 5 if you're an Ultimate Game Pass subscriber, which we touched on.
It's massive, yeah.
It's 4 days earlier, so that'd be September 6th. They showed the new mode in the game called Escape. This is a 3-player co-op game where it's just pretty much all action. If you haven't seen the footage, yesterday at the conference, they showed almost like a CGI trailer of a very action-oriented trailer, but there's now footage that has been shown afterwards of actual gameplay. It actually looks really, really fun. I was watching it this morning. Could be an absolute blast. Then what they covered is that there's going to be a technical alpha for Gears 5 multiplayer on July 17th, so next month. And then at Gamescom in August, they're going to show Horde, new Horde mode, which of course many Gears fans are excited for, of course. The disappointment factor was people were really hoping for a big campaign overview, right? Which they're going to show this week, and I gotta admit that's a little bit of an oddity to save big campaign footage outside of the conference.
Yep.
That said, I did think it was really unique what they did with Kate. And
that was awesome.
Yeah, and the whole, again, if you follow Gears fan, you know what's happening in the storyline. Kate's kind of torn between what's going on with her, with the relationship with JD, and her friends that she grew up with, but then she's got this Locust past, and the Swarm are there, and it was really neat how they kind of showed that. And they showed the Queen. They showed her like the Queen really briefly.
Queen Mara.
Queen Mara and that DNA or whatever you want to call it, heritage. We're almost into spoilers at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought it looked great. I have full confidence that this is going to be probably the best Gears game yet, just due to what is being put into it. I get the disappointment not showing campaign, but otherwise I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and that trailer of the different faces coming out, the music was amazing on there, and it just matched everything really good. And having that on the big screen was really cool.
It was really cool.
The presentation was cool.
For the people who were wondering what the song was, you looked it up, right?
Yeah, it's an artist, a new artist named Billie Eilish, who's an American artist, but I think it's called Bury My Dead or something.
Bury the Dead, something like that.
Bury the Dead or something. Just a new artist. It's a different sounding stuff. I thought it was really cool. It matched the trailer near perfectly. And then if you watch the trailer from the music video from the artist, it's similar, which is kind of funny. It's this girl struggling with a whole bunch of different things, but really cool if you're into that music. They did show some gameplay footage right after the press conference. I think IGN was hosting some gameplay.
Yep, they were.
And then Rod Ferguson during the thing saying, we have these 3 WWE wrestlers.
I didn't even know who they were. Sorry.
Yeah, we don't follow WWE, so a lot of people do, but they actually showed that footage of them playing as well. So if you're looking for gameplay footage, it's there. It just wasn't shown in the conference, which is unfortunate. I think we can all agree that we were hoping to see something the CGI, but at the same time, the CGI was good, and that new gameplay mode looks really cool too.
Yeah,
So
check out the footage, the gameplay footage of Escape. It's really good. All right, then Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
Another big surprise here is they're teaming up with Lego this time. If you remember, they did Hot Wheels expansion in Forza Horizon 3, which was a huge hit.
Oh yeah.
This one they're doing Lego Speed Champions?
Yeah, Speed Champions.
Speed Champions, which I think means it's a whole bunch of specific cars in Lego form, right? But they said the whole world is going to be like Lego and destructible and built out of Legos. It looks wild.
Yeah, Lego's kind of a world phenomenon in general, and it's only gotten bigger with different, Marvel, Harry Potter. I mean, you can just go down every big franchise that's going on right now, and now you can play them in Forza Horizon. I think a lot of people forget that Forza Horizon is the lighter take on racing. If you want a motorsport simulator type racing, you go to Forza Motorsport. If you want to be fun and take crazy jumps and drift out of control and see these new worlds where there's weather and stuff happening, that's what Horizon's designed for. So I thought that's really cool. I think me and you have talked many times that if we just want to chill out sometimes, we'll put Horizon on, put our favorite soundtrack on in the background and just drive around and do dumb stuff. So you've got the Scooby-Doo truck doing drifts all over places, and we're jumping off cliffs and stuff. I think it's actually a really cool place to see Lego jump into. And they had the McLaren Senna in Lego form at the presentation, which was really cool. So I think we'll be able to get a little bit closer to it. We'll take some more pictures of that and show you guys what it looks like, but that must have taken forever to do.
I can't imagine. Yeah,
and it looks accurate, like scale perfect. So
crazy.
Very cool. It's out this week, so
that's shocking.
There's no delay or anything. And on Game Pass.
Yep.
Yeah. So very cool. We'll see more Horizon. We were expecting to see something from Playground. We didn't expect to see more Horizon or Motorsport there, but we did, and I was pretty excited about it.
Yeah, no, I think it looks really fun. I don't know what people were expecting for Horizon DLC, maybe something more serious, but I think this is going to be a blast, and I think probably some of those people that just give it a chance and play it will have a lot more fun than they think they're going to. So
Hot Wheels wasn't exactly serious.
No, everyone was like, well, what is Hot Wheels? What's that doing? And then, of course, people loved it.
Yeah, people still play that nonstop.
Yeah.
So pretty funny.
There was a little game, we'll stick on Lego real quick because I think we forgot on our list here, but they showed the whole Star Wars Skywalker saga.
That was cool.
In a single Lego Star Wars game. So Lego Star Wars games, I know some people don't care, again, same thing, right? But there are millions and millions of people who play these games.
Massive.
Yeah, huge. And to have all the Lego Star Wars games in one single collection where you can play through them all sequentially is pretty cool.
I thought that was really cool. So when the trailer first happened, and I think they showed a TIE fighter going through space, and then the Millennium Falcon came around it, I was like, is this another unannounced Star Wars game?
Yeah, because they did it a long time ago.
Yeah, and then we saw them jump to the Lego characters. Like, oh, it's a Lego game, thank God, because that was like another surprise Star Wars game that we didn't know. I wasn't even ready for it. And I'm actually going to pick this one up. One of the cool things about the Lego games is they take the original stories, you play through the stories, and they add a lot of comedic factors to it that is maybe not even in the movie or something. Something funny happens. And they're fun to play with family, friends, significant others, kids, whatever. And you don't really have to think that much when playing them. So they're a lot of fun. So I'm excited to see this. I'll probably pick it up.
Yeah. Gonna be a big one. So then we had a really unique game called 12 Minutes.
Awesome.
Yeah, this looked crazy. Basically, you're a single man and you're in this room with what looks to be your significant other and some kind of backstory, but you're trapped in a time loop. And it's really hard to explain. So I would say if you haven't watched or didn't watch the conference, find 12 Minutes, find the gameplay trailer. Looks really unique, but I love unique games like this.
Yeah, me too. Those time loop things, there's been a lot of movies and shows that have come out recently with time loops to where it's really cool, but just the feel of the game kind of made you feel uncomfortable for a second.
Yeah,
and then there was a different scenario that changed right after that, and you could kind of start seeing the time loop develop, and then when they showed this guy stuck in a time loop, I was like, this is going to be pretty cool. So excited to see it. We don't know much about it other than that, and all we got out of it was coming soon.
Yeah.
So we don't know much else about that.
I think it's coming soon, but it did say, did I put here Game Pass? I can't remember if that's Game Pass or not, but regardless. This one leaked ahead of time, sadly, but it was pretty cool. So we saw Borderlands 3. We saw some more stuff from Borderlands 3, which we kind of expected because they said tune into the Xbox conference. But then, of course, they announced that Handsome Collection is on Game Pass today.
Yeah.
So if you're missing anything on Borderlands, you can go get it and play it for free. And then also the free new latest expansion for Borderlands 2, which leaked ahead of time, like I said, Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary. So that was on stage there. It's out now if you love Borderlands, and go play it. And I think they said that you don't even need to have played Borderlands 2 or have a character saved. If you want to jump into the Lilith story, it automatically puts you at level 30, and then you can just play through.
I don't know if you said it, but that's part of Game Pass as well.
That's Game Pass too.
Yeah, you don't have to buy the DLC after getting the Game Pass game to where they're gonna, try to get some extra change on you. But I'm kind of upset because I bought Borderlands when I heard it was being 4K'd and everything, and I went out and bought it again. And now it's on Game Pass. So, all $12 wasted. Come on now.
12 bucks.
Yeah, $12.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, big one here. So Elden Ring. It's real. From Miyazaki and From Software combined with George R.R. Martin. We saw a very, go figure, cryptic trailer for it. People super pumped up because it looks to be in that Souls vein, right? It was very similar to some of the teasers we've seen from the old Souls games. As someone personally who beat Sekiro and did not really enjoy it as much as other people did, definitely think the Souls and Bloodborne game were better. I'm excited.
As someone who can't play these games, I'm excited to see the art style, the direction, the fact that George R.R. Martin is in the gaming industry is really cool. But I'm not probably going to play this one because I'm not going to be able to get past the first few bosses and then actually enjoy it. But another game ruined by leaks and spoilers that, once again, if we didn't know about this ahead of time and we saw the director from the From Software games and George R.R. Martin's game names appear on the same screen and then seen that From Software thing, people would have gone bonkers. Yeah. But once again, ruined by spoilers and leaks. We knew that something was coming. We didn't know the details. We didn't know the trailer. But I thought it looks cool. I can say that. It looks really cool from what we've seen so far. The cracking of the shoulder. It looked like he was building some kind of a weapon or something.
Yeah, and the one woman like put her arm on.
Yeah, that was interesting. That's gonna be like maybe something. Sekiro had the whole prosthetic arm thing going on too. So I don't know. I think it's something to be excited for if you like this genre of game. At least we know there's going to be a story this time. Some of the games that happen in Sekiro and the Dark Souls, you have no idea what the hell's going on unless you really go into the lore. Even Bloodborne sometimes, if you don't follow the lore, you have no idea what the hell's going on. You're just trying to stay alive. But cool.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. I know, they have a kind of a cult following now. I mean, there's that hardcore group of From guys that are going to buy this no matter what. So could be really, really big if done well. I'm just excited to see it. The one thing I will say on it is I hope they've either modified or are using a new engine for the game. The engine that From uses is a little bit outdated in some ways, so we'll see what that looks like.
What do you think about a new formula to the game instead of the same things?
Yeah, I think it could use a little shake-up. Yep. They probably need to keep some of it right, and Sekiro tried to do that. It kind of kept the Souls formula while shaking it up in some ways, but in some of the ways they did in that game, I didn't think were better. Mm-hmm. I thought they were actually worse. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
Another huge announcement here, and surprising on Xbox side is Tales of Arise. So the new Tales game, big Japanese role-playing game series, debuted here. It's coming in 2020 is all that it was said. I'm sure it's coming to Xbox, PS4, probably Switch if I had to imagine, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm not a big Tales guy, but it's really cool to see these things debuting on Microsoft stage and then know that they're coming to Xbox and just get that Japanese support that we've talked about for so long. So.
Yeah, I'm a big Tales fan, so I'm kind of excited about it to see what it is. Immediately when I started seeing that first character appear, I was like, is that a new Tales game? I didn't see this one coming. Not leaked, but it is a surprise to kind of see another great Japanese franchise coming to Xbox, to at least be able to play it on Xbox and not be exclusive to the Switch or the PlayStation or something. But the art style looked really cool. Had some cool stuff going on. One other thing I wanted to mention about it was cool to see if that's going to be just an Xbox thing, because I wonder if the Switch would struggle running some of that stuff. But we've seen worse stories happen on the Switch, running at less than 500p. But I wonder what'll happen.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I don't know. We'll see. This one was a big surprise. So it came out, big partnership. They said over 600 million players. Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
Okay, 600 million players. CROSSFIRE X. It looked almost like a tactical military style shooter. I guess this is big in either Europe, it might be big in Russia or China, I'm not sure, because it can't be big here. Because most people didn't know what it was, right?
Yeah.
But coming to console for the first time, coming to Xbox, I don't think there was a date. I will maybe check that real quick. But this was a big surprise, and it was interesting because it could be, if it's that popular, military tactical could be something that kind of, along the lines of either PUBG Ghost Recon that really captures those guys who like those military style shooters.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. We didn't really see much outside of the trailer of what it was, and to me, I was like, how have we not heard of this game before, just by the way the style was and the way the trailer was rolling? I thought we had seen more of it at some point, but I hadn't even heard of the game before. So this must be, as Ains said, really big in not only the PC community, but maybe in a foreign country where a lot of people play this game.
Korea.
Out here.
So I'm looking it up right now. Korea's and Asia's favorite shooter.
There you go.
And it's an FPS.
That explains a lot. They play a lot of games over there that we don't really even care about over here, or even think about. So that's
and coming in 2020 to Xbox.
cool.
According to this, South Korea-based Smilegate, so Smilegate's making it. And again, this just goes back to that whole relationship building with these Asian countries, right? Whether it be Japan, Korea, China, what have you. Xbox is really trying to branch out. So this is a very one of those other announcements. We've talked a lot, right? Another announcement that probably means a lot to a ton of people, but just not that hardcore group that's so focused on Xbox as a console. This gets kind of blown over as a non-announcement when really, worldwide, this is actually a very big announcement.
Big, yeah. I mean, does that mean that maybe people will pay more attention to the Xbox brand in Korea or wherever these games
or
are
wherever else?
I mean, people might give it a chance that didn't give it a chance before.
Yep. So we saw an update for State of Decay from Undead Labs. So what they're calling their biggest expansion ever. Looks like it's coming from a story perspective and actually two different perspectives, which looks pretty neat, honestly. State of Decay 2, in case you haven't been following, continually updated, continually optimized, more content. It's just one of those games that continues to grow and grow. And this looks really good. It's called Heartland. Naturally, as we keep saying, it's coming to Game Pass, as State of Decay 2 is already on there as well. Didn't see a release date for it, but it looks really good.
Yeah, I thought it looked really good too. And when watching it, one of the things that looked good about State of Decay, it looks like it's been streamlined, it's been optimized a lot. If you played this game at the start, it was glitchy. I didn't have as many glitches as other people did, but it needed a little bit of work here and there. It was a smaller team. You got to keep in mind that the State of Decay team was not part of the Microsoft Game Studios when it first came out, and they've purchased it now, and more than likely they're infusing a bit more resources and stuff into the franchise. So that's really good to hear and see. So we'll see how that happens. And it's good to see that a game that's been evolved over time. They didn't just leave it in there and said whatever, shut the door on it or anything. So.
No, and we've talked about that before. A lot of these games, Sea of Thieves, State of Decay, they're just continually getting better.
Yeah.
They may not have launched in the best state, but they're getting better. And apparently we completely missed this because it's out.
Oh, it's out already?
It's out now.
Yeah.
So they launched it, I guess, yesterday at the conference on Game Pass. So if you're a State of Decay 2 fan or looking for a reason to go back, there you go.
There you go. Awesome game to play with friends, by the way. If you haven't done it before, you can take your characters and put them into their game that they're playing, vice versa. You're part of their world and you get XP while playing with them. So it's not just you're just supporting somebody, but you're taking your own characters in there and leveling them up as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like cross progression almost.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So we saw new Dragon Ball Z, and I saw you get really pumped up for this.
You want me to talk about this one?
Yeah, you might as well cover this because it was showing Dragon Ball, and you're like, oh yeah, and I'm like, what's going on? Or is this done yet?
How much longer we got in this conference?
But we knew they were developing an action role-playing game in the Dragon Ball Z universe. The official name for it is it Kakarot?
Kakarot, yeah.
Okay, Kakarot, and I'll let you go.
Yeah, so for people like Ains that don't follow Dragon Ball Z, Kakarot is the Saiyan name for Goku. So if you're if you're a Goku fan, then that's Kakarot. So what this makes me think is that there's going to be maybe multiple stories of the Dragon Ball Z characters in this world, and maybe you're just doing Kakarot's story first. They didn't show the way the game will move around, like how will you control your characters. I'm not necessarily talking about just gameplay, but how does the world look when you're inside of it, and moving navigation and stuff. A lot of the trailer looked a lot like Dragon Ball Z Fighters, to be honest, or the previous Budokai games that were very popular. I actually want to see more about the game. They talked about it last year, and even they had an update during this year that it's coming, etc. I think it was called Project Dragon Ball, maybe.
Project Z, I thought.
Yeah, Project Z. So now they've actually named it Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which is the big update here. And they did show up to the time that he powered up to Super Saiyan. So we don't know if that's going to have the whole Dragon Ball Z saga, if all his enemies are going to be there, or if they're going to do maybe just the start of Dragon Ball Z, do the first story with Frieza, and that's pretty much it or what. But looks really cool. If you follow anime, this is something to be excited about. We don't know much more about it other than that. I hope they show more maybe at E3. The Bandai Namco booth is a really fun one to go to.
Yeah.
So we're kind of excited to see what they have to offer. I'm excited to see if you can actually play the game now, or if it's just more of the same trailers or what it is. But if you're excited about Dragon Ball, check this one out.
There you go. And on to better games. I'm kidding. The last game we'll talk about, they saved obviously the biggest for last, is Halo Infinite. We knew we were going to see something from this. What we saw was a 6-minute long kind of next-gen teaser.
Yeah.
Excuse me. This was, if you go back and watch it, especially in 4K, you will notice a lot of things, because I did so this morning, that were just highlighting the tech. Really a technical teaser here. And it also showed, from a Halo fan's perspective, obviously a lot of Chief. It showed his new armor design, which I think looks incredible. I haven't checked in with the Halo community this morning, but I have to imagine they're liking what they see, because it's really gone back to the roots of a clean, clean armor design, and just a very fresh look for him. Really neat to see Chief. Beautiful music that led through the trailer, which kind of brought back some of the famous Halo tunes, but in a new kind of vein. And obviously Steve Downes and his classic voice, and saying, Frey said, "We need to run." He said, "No, we need to fight," and that's just going to live on in infamy now.
Yep.
And also, right at the end, they confirmed that it's coming holiday 2020 with Project Scarlett, the next Xbox console, which we kind of rumored. And then they also showed Cortana, and they ended with her speaking, saying that her and Chief are a perfect match. So I actually told these guys, I was like, as the music started playing and Chief spoke, the hair was standing up on my arms, my neck. I was just ridiculously excited for this. I think it was a great tease. If you know Halo, you're a big Halo fan, you know that when they do these games, they do teases like this that don't necessarily tie directly into the campaign gameplay. But this was to get people hyped to show the tech, to get hyped for Chief, and to get hyped for both the launch next year with the new console. And I think they did a masterful job.
Yeah, if you're watching it in 4K on Mixer, or if you were there, obviously, you can see the small things about the new engine and potentially next gen, what it'll do. You saw the character breathing, you saw his eyes doing things differently.
Oh, the animations.
Everything just looked very, very nice. And that's just our first look at it. It's very much a tease. I think they mentioned the game engine was being used, so we finally see a little bit more of the game engine.
Game engine footage, yeah.
Game engine. So as of last year, they said this is just an imagining of what Halo Infinite would be. That wasn't any game engine footage being used. This year, they talked more about that, but I'm happy we saw Chief. I don't know if you should draw too many lines from maybe the story or what the campaign's going to be about from the trailer, but he was floating in space. He didn't have Cortana in his chipset at that specific moment, and then he found her. But I'm super excited. I think we'll see probably a full unveiling of Halo Infinite next year at E3, and right before they're launching the new console. So very excited. Good way to end it. Did we want to talk about Scarlett yet, or not just yet? I know
we'll move to the hardware stuff now. That was all the games. Let's talk quickly about Xbox Game Pass. The Elite.
Yeah.
And Scarlett. So let's start with Game Pass. We can be quick on this one.
Yeah.
Game Pass beta for PC is out now. As we already said, lots of unique games there and unique developers that are going to be joining that. Game Pass Ultimate. So quick kind of like service announcement here is Ultimate is $14.99 a month, but it includes Game Pass for PC, and Xbox Live Gold.
Yep.
So it's really, really a big value there. And even better is if you're one of those people like we are that have kind of put your subscriptions out there for a long time. Like I've paid through Gold and paid through Game Pass through next year. They're doing a special right now where for $1 you upgrade to Ultimate, and it'll convert all of your Gold and all of your Game Pass for the rest of the time you have those subscribed. So basically, if you're subscribed for several months or more, even a couple years out right now, do this upgrade and you're gonna have the $14.99 package all the way into that date. I did so this morning. I don't have to pay for Game Pass Ultimate now until nearly 2021. So it's, and I paid $1. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's like they said that doing just for E3, so we have no idea how long this deal is going to last.
Exactly, so jump on it.
Jump on it. It literally stacks on the memberships that you have, so that's really cool to do. I think they're still offering just basic Game Pass, and then Xbox Live by itself is still just a service as well.
Yeah.
So if you're still interested in those services, you can still do that. But if you're into playing a lot of games and not maybe just a social with 1 or 2 games with your friends, Ultimate seems like a no-brainer, especially
Absolutely.
if you have the existing things. If you're coming as a new person and haven't done that before, you're going to be paying around $14.99 per month for the service, which includes everything.
Yep.
So, and they mentioned that PC will be included in part of the Ultimate subscription as well.
Yeah, you get PC as well, and you also get Gears Ultimate. So instead, if you're a normal Game Pass subscriber, you get Gears. If you're Ultimate Game Pass, you get Gears of the Ultimate Edition. So that includes that Terminator. We didn't even mention that.
Yep.
The Terminator crossover pack.
Yep.
And some bonuses as well as if you had pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition, which is $80. So
Yep.
pretty impressive there. And also, this will transition us to the xCloud conversation. So they did talk about xCloud. I think some of this, in fact, I think a lot of this is going over people's heads. And understanding how this works, and I won't go into a kind of tirade or rant here, but this is super impressive technology. Basically, what they're saying is that all of the xCloud servers that are running on Azure are using Xbox consoles, right? And so what they announced yesterday, which was a surprise to me, is that you can use your own Xbox console as your streaming console as well. What that means in layman's terms, I think anyway, and anyone feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, is that you have the capability, as we know, to play your Xbox account and games remotely on xCloud. You can do that through PC, you can do that through mobile, you can do it wherever you are, and you'll be connected to the Azure data center that's closest to you to keep that latency down, right? However, just say that you're down the street from your house, you're sitting in your garden or on your porch, you're even sitting upstairs away from your console. You can connect to xCloud and still play your games, but you'd be closer to your personal console rather than one of these data centers. So it's another way to just keep that latency down. You may be a few miles away from your console versus 50 miles, 100 miles, 1,000 miles away from the data center. So it makes more sense for you to have your console there as your connection to that server, your console using that broadband connection to the server. So it's like that link, basically. Really, really impressive. And that's a fantastic way for Microsoft and Xbox to get around the situations in more remote locations where they don't have data centers, right? So if you're out there somewhere in the middle of nowhere, or you're in a third world country, or you're in just a country where there's not this supported data center that's nearby, you're worried about latency. If you have a decent internet connection and an Xbox console, you can still capitalize on xCloud. That's game changing.
Yeah.
It really is, and I think people missed that in the announcement.
Yeah, the other thing that they mentioned is it's part of your subscription too.
And part of the subscription we just talked about. So they announced that xCloud's just part of this, your Game Pass Ultimate. So now you've got Game Pass PC, all your Xbox Live Gold, all those games at launch, first party, indie titles, all those games at launch, and you can play them anywhere on any device.
Yeah, so it's
bonkers.
As you mentioned, it's game changing. And I mean, and even if like you're a new gamer coming, you're paying $14.99, you're getting that massive library of 300 plus games, xCloud, you're getting Xbox Live, you're getting everything in there. It seems like a great value in my opinion. I don't know the technical stuff behind xCloud in any form. I think we'll find out more as we get there. It's being compared a lot to the Google Stadia talk that's happening right now, and it's not even one-to-one in my opinion. It's very different.
xCloud has a different architecture, and it's absolutely more advanced.
Yeah, so it's something that we'll see a lot more of coming. We didn't get a launch date for xCloud, did we?
They said this year.
Yeah. They did say 2019.
This year in previews.
Yeah, so we had a leak for Bethesda, so we didn't get to check out any of the stuff that was there. But if you attended the E3 conference as just an attendee and not part of the Fan Fest, they had a whole bunch of stuff at the Microsoft Theater that you could check out and play. You could get up and close to the Lego car. They had like a display for the Elite 2 control that we're going to talk about in a second. So there was a lot of stuff there, and we will report back more on xCloud after we play it tonight and get our hands on it and see if the latency is real or if there's none. I mean, from what we've heard of everybody, that it's a powerhouse when it comes to latency, that you see almost none of it.
Yep.
So we'll share more of that today as we get to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be impressive. So the Elite Controller 2, we joked that we didn't think it was going to show up, and it did. I think it looks really, really good. You know, what we've heard so far, it's pretty much matches the leaks, right? There was really nothing too surprising about it. It's got Bluetooth, 3 profiles now, better hair triggers, adjustable tension thumbsticks, which is pretty cool. All the customizability. It's a long word. Still there. You can pre-order it now. It's $179.99, so it's gone up by $30. And that's probably in response to all these aftermarket controllers we see that are 200, right? One thing they did mention was the durability has improved. So I know you've had some issues there, so we'll see. Many people have had issues there, so hopefully it's better built than the original.
Yeah, so me being the controller dork, and I guess our group or whatever, I've fixed a number of Elite controllers.
Including mine.
Including Ains's, throughout a number of time. And what I can say is that I'm super excited about this. There was a lot of updates for me personally. Another cool thing is that the case acts as a rechargeable kit.
That's cool. Yeah.
For the controller. So if you're taking it on the go and you left your house with very low battery, it's very similar to the AirPods that Apple has, where you have that little case you carry it around, and you can throw it in there. The grips are different. They kind of remind me of the Nintendo Switch Pro controller grips as far as the way they look. We don't know how they feel yet. We haven't had a chance to put our hands on one yet. But to me, this is a great evolution to already probably the best controller of this generation when it comes to comfort and accessibility and just the feel of it. The weight, everything about it was near perfect. So I thought that they did a lot of things that I didn't even think of that they were going to do. So once again, it's got all that part. It's not like the Scuffs and the Astros and everything where you have to buy additional pieces after the fact. It all comes in there for you, and there's a lot of things that were added. We already pre-ordered ours, maybe right away after we left.
I don't want to talk about pre-orders right now.
Yeah, so we're super excited about it. We can't wait to check it out.
Yep. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get a hands on it later tonight, and we'll report back. I think Jez put something up, some pictures or something, if you want some up-close pictures too. So, all right, so Project Scarlett. This is the big thing, one of the big things people were waiting for. So just a few things to clarify right off the top is, what they showed was kind of what they did before, is like the engineering team and some of the people working on the hardware. They confirmed that it's coming holiday next year, which is what, of course, everyone thought, right? The new console. They only called it Project Scarlett, which from what we know internally is actually 2 SKUs. So people are asking, well, wait, are they only doing one console now? From what we know, there's still 2 consoles. But they're both going to use new CPU and GPU architecture. It's just that the entry-level SKU, what's known internally as Lockhart, is going to have some, lesser feature set, lesser power compared to the Anaconda, which is supposed to be the beast. So, a couple things they mentioned on this that seem to have been overlooked. They mentioned that all 4 generations of games will look and play better than they ever have. So what that's alluding to, of course, is that all the way back to original Xbox backwards compatibility up through next-gen games, things will be kind of optimized like we see those Xbox One X enhanced like original Xbox titles, probably doing more of that, where your old titles are going to play in better frame rates, higher resolutions, just better quality than you're used to. The biggest thing that was missed, by far, I think, because I've seen nothing but it on social media, is when she said, and it was very quick, hardware-based ray tracing acceleration. This, if you're not aware, and I'm not going to go into detail here, and I'm not even an expert in this, so I won't claim to be, that is a game changer. So if they are truly doing hardware ray tracing, which was rumored, and she said in the video for the first time ever, this is a very, very big deal, and it will be a separator, a differentiator from any competition. Ray tracing is very advanced tech, but it's very processor heavy. On a software side, it takes a ton of calculation power to do ray tracing. And that's why you don't really see it in hardly anything today. Even high-end PCs struggle. It brings them to a crawl. So the solution long-term is to do it on the hardware side so that your CPU and GPU power can be reserved for game processing, and there's hardware dedicated chipsets basically that are doing the ray tracing for the games. That is what they alluded to. That's in the rumored specs, and that's what they alluded to. If so, very big deal. The only other thing that's really cool was they were talking about, speed of load times, and they basically confirmed the NVMe SSD architecture and how they're essentially utilizing it almost like RAM on the system. And you remember me telling you guys that that's going to be like instant access. Yep. I mean, things will just be instant. And so really, really impressive. I expect this console to be very, very advanced and impressive. Probably the next generational leap. I think it was Mike Ybarra in the video, who we met yesterday, by the way, who said this will be the biggest generational leap for consoles ever of all time. And so got me super excited. I think people were expecting more. but I don't know why they were expecting specs, price, etc. We knew we weren't going to get that. We knew we were going to get high-level architecture, Zen 2, Navi, ray tracing, similar to Sony. Neither of them are going to show their full hand yet. It's too early. So.
Yeah. No, I'd same thing to your point. I mean, they didn't go there and list every single spec that was going to be in there. One of the leaks that leaked out was the dev kit. We were talking about what the dev kit's power was, and people were blown away by that. And they weren't going to show that at E3. There's no reason to show that right now. They're still a year away from potentially the full announcement of what Anaconda is going to be
next
and all
E3.
that stuff. So they kind of shared their vision, which I thought was very important. I'm not sure if you consider that playing it safe, but at the same time, they were playing it pretty well to show what they're aiming for the next year.
That's exactly what
and that's
should
the
have been
whole point of it.
expected.
Yeah. So I think they did a good job at that. I think it was cool to see.
Excuse the motorcycle outside.
Yeah. We're in downtown LA and you hear all kinds of stuff out here. So I was pretty excited for what they showed. I'm glad that they showed something. I think a lot of people were saying they weren't going to show anything about next gen yet until next year, but they showed us something of what they're talking about. Like we talked about with Halo Infinite, we saw a little bit of what the software is going to be doing. But it's cool to see that they're thinking about hardware and how hardware is going to be actually evolving into something new. Load times is a massive headache for us. We use SSDs on our Xboxes just to get a better load time in all of our games, better performance. So to see what SSDs are going to do in the future is massive, I think, for the generation. So
yeah, and I think as usual on the SSD front, because I saw some posts as usual, people saying, "Oh, SSD, that's nothing special." People just as usual, they don't understand. All SSDs are not created equal.
Yep.
So just thinking that this is just an SSD like you can use today, it's not. Completely different.
Yeah, people have used an SSD, they put it in their PlayStation 4 and they think that it is using the SSD that even at its max. Well, PlayStation doesn't allow the SSD to run at its fastest speed anyways based on where it's sending it to the actual rest of the hardware. And even on Xbox today, you can use an SSD as an external and run your games from there, and it's not even using that at the max. So we don't know what the next generation of SSDs are doing yet. We have nothing to really compare it to today from even a PC gaming perspective. We don't even know what that looks like. So something to be excited for. Like I said, if you were going there and you were expecting to see what the console is going to look like and what the next generation control is going to look like and all the specs to come out, I think you're doing it wrong. That wasn't what Xbox was aiming for this time. So I don't know. I don't know what other way you can think about it. I think we have what we have to go with right now, and we should be excited about what we're seeing for both Sony and Microsoft for next gen, not just Microsoft.
Yep. And the funniest comment was right at the end. I thought some people thought it was silly, right? But he said, Kareem, I always pronounce his last name wrong. I think it's Chowdhury. Yeah. He's the head of engineering at Xbox. Said it eats monsters for breakfast. And so that was, if you're not aware, that was a little bit of a slight, a little bit of some shade thrown because people kept calling the PS5 reveal a monster. And so, yeah, that's kind of interesting, but we'll see.
Little jab.
Yeah, a little early jab. You know, they're setting up for next year. Okay, so we have talked for a while. There was a lot to cover. Like I said before, I think people, because there was so much, they're reflecting on what was shown or their expectations, and they're forgetting how big some of these things really were. I thought it was a very, very good show. No, I don't think it was a 10, but I think it was excellent. So what, all that said, what were some of the things, what were your favorite things?
Yeah, so my favorite things was a few of the surprises that I didn't even see coming. So for example, Bleeding Edge to me was...
I thought it looked good.
I was really surprised by that. I wouldn't say it's my favorite thing of the conference, but I was really surprised at the quality there. I was surprised to see the controller Elite 2, which to me is not even software, but I'm a big controller guy. So I was really excited to see that. And for me, just being at E3 for the first time, I'm not sure if it kind of clouds my judgment as to the conference and everything, but it was really fun to be a part of it and to kind of see things up close and seeing everything. One last surprise, I know we only said 3, was, funny enough, I like the Lego Horizon thing quite a bit.
Oh.
Cyberpunk stole the show. I don't think we can even, I don't think either one of us will say
I think Keanu it was a fun moment, right?
Yeah, it was a very fun moment, and it was fun to be a part of. But to your point, we heard a few people that were in line with us saying that last year's conference was better than this year's.
Yeah, see, I disagree.
I'd say that they're either, my personal opinion, not Ains's, is they're either on the same level or this one was a tiny bit better for me. I thought the pacing was good, even to the point where I was like, I was just on this like roller coaster ride of so much going on. Yeah, and it felt a little bit long at some point. So I thought the pacing maybe could have used some improvement, but overall, those are my favorite things.
Okay.
How about you?
Yeah, so I think I'm with you. Bleeding Edge looked better than I thought it was going to look. People were down on it with this leak.
Yep.
I saw it. I was like, oh, this could be a big game. But I think my favorite things goes without saying for me, Halo Infinite. I love the design of Chief. I love the music. I love everything about what I saw there in terms of a tease for the next game. I too loved the Elite controller too. You know, people make fun of that, but I mean, it's almost like a car's tires. Yeah. You know, it's like it's the thing that connects the hardware to you is the controller. If you don't have a good controller, forget about it. And the Elite is awesome. It has some concerns. This one should be better. I'm excited for it. I thought Blair Witch.
Yeah, I was just reading my stuff again. I messed up.
Horror games. Love horror games. It looks awesome. I can't wait to see more. The fact that it's coming out in 2 months is crazy. I just hope it's well optimized. And I would also mention Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts is great, and I think it looks really good. The acquisition of Double Fine, seeing Tim Schafer right there in front of us on stage was really cool. Love that guy. And I'm going to continue to ramble about Phantasy Star Online.
Wow.
The fact that that's coming west is really cool. I want to jump into that. That may be the game where you guys are like, holy crap, Ains is actually playing a Japanese role-playing game for a while. Oh, and Flight Simulator too.
Flight Simulator looks fun. I'm not gonna lie. I will be checking. I don't know if I'm gonna play for hours upon hours flying from New York to LA, but
New York to LA.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Oh, Gears 5. Okay, so
supposed to be 3.
I liked a lot.
It was supposed to be 3.
All right, disappointments. I did have some disappointments too, though. So go ahead with yours.
You want me to go first? So, in the spirit of leaks and rumors that we had been hearing a lot of, I would say one of the most disappointing things is the amount of rumors and leaks that happen. I think it took a little bit out of the experience, not only from the people at the conference, but people at home. I think if, like I said, I said it a number of times in our discussion today that if we didn't know about that going in, we would have been screaming. For a lot of the stuff we didn't even know. Yeah. And so that kind of ruined a lot of things. But as far as things that were rumored that didn't show that I wanted to see was Fable. We've heard about Fable. It has not been confirmed by Playground Games or by Microsoft, who are, Playground Games is the rumored developer for this. Microsoft has not even mentioned. It's just been in the social media community for a while. Another one for me was the Killer Instinct rumor that we were going to get a new Killer Instinct. Yeah. We didn't see that. And the worst for me is we didn't get Splinter Cell. A lot of insiders, a lot of people close to it said that we were going to see. Actually, we didn't see anything from Ubisoft, did we? Yeah, we didn't see anything from Ubisoft at all, and we had talked about some of the stuff. Maybe the new Ghost Recon was going to be there in some form with maybe an extended trailer. Yeah. We didn't see a Call of Duty in any form whatsoever. We're under the impression that potentially Sony has marketing rights there, and that's why it didn't show. Yep. But there's a lot of things that were rumored that didn't show, and a lot of the things that were rumored that did show didn't excite us as much because we already knew so much about it. So I don't know if Microsoft needs to do something to tighten it even further or what. I don't even know if it's Microsoft's fault or the developer's fault or whose fault it really is, but screw all you guys that keep leaking stuff. Jeff Keighley. Anyways, so moving on, that's about it for my letdowns.
So we saw yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before we saw him?
Yeah. He's still defending Sony to this morning.
Yeah, well,
no matter what, it's kind of funny.
For me, so we didn't see Cuphead. Yeah. Where's the Cuphead DLC? Yeah. Come on, it's supposed to be coming this year. I'm wondering if they're taking longer to develop it like they did with the original game, or they're going to make it broader, you know? But we haven't even heard anything about it, so I need to know what's going on. God damn it, there's no Banjo. Why was there no Banjo?
The 3rd year in a row that you said Banjo.
I know, although I'm holding on to a sliver of hope for us Banjo fans. Microsoft released something yesterday where it said where to find Microsoft at E3, and listed on there, which seems kind of bizarre, right, is at Nintendo Direct tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning. So, you know, hopefully we're going to hear about Banjo, the rumored Banjo and Smash, and maybe more tomorrow. And then I do think it was a missed opportunity not to show Gears 5 campaign footage. I know that if they did, we would have heard the other side of, oh, here they go showing Gears again. So you can't really win either way. They tried to show something new with Escape. I thought that was great. I thought the overall Gears 5 presentation was great. But it was a moment where they could have said, here's where Gear 5 takes the next step. It's this amazing looking third-person action campaign, right? Yep. Kind of what people want to see and show that story and the development. I think they missed an opportunity there. But I think those are my biggest disappointments. Yeah, I agree with you, no Splinter Cell. You know, we thought that may be teased as well. But
may still be at Ubisoft, but I have a feeling we're not going to see it actually.
Yeah, we're only a few hours away as we record this. So anyway, overall, I thought it was a very, very good conference. Like I said, I wouldn't give it a 10, but I see people saying like 5, you know, like it was okay. I'm like, I don't know how that was just okay. I don't know what they have to do. We got first party stuff, we got third party stuff, we got new game announcements, 13 or 11 brand new game announcements, world premieres, FromSoft, Simulator. We got new Elite 2. We got new hardware reveals. We got Game Pass Ultimate.
Acquisition, yeah.
I mean, a studio acquisition. I mean, they had everything. I don't know what else you really want in that regard. So I do get the complaints around some of the indie games didn't need to be shown as much. I get that, but you know, they as you mentioned, they're gaming overall. It's not just this singular console focus. It's kind of everything to do with gaming, and that's what we saw. And someone who follows it as closely with all the details, I like it.
Yep. I think it's really interesting. I think people go in with a specific state of mind and they look only for that one thing. Is Microsoft going to do this? I think the big talk has been, where are the lifelike exclusive, story-driven exclusives? And I think if you're only driving for that the whole time, then just go watch something else. I mean, if you're a gamer and you really love gaming, there's so much that Microsoft brings to the table. If you're only looking for story-driven, lifelike, Last of Us, whatever the case is that you're looking for, stick with Sony, man. I'm not going to try to convince people anymore about specific things. You got to have an open mind, and I think Microsoft is going in a different direction from just that. They're offering a big umbrella of different options that you can do with gaming, and you have to have that open mind in order to enjoy it. I'm not going to sit here and defend Microsoft in any form whatsoever. I still give them a B to a B+. I don't think it was a stellar thing. I think that people hyped up Microsoft so much because Sony wasn't coming, and I think even I said it at our last Bitcast. I was like, Microsoft has to show something off here. It's their time to show so many things that happen.
Yeah, Dan said the same.
And
I think we all do.
Yeah, I'm not going to say they missed the mark in any form whatsoever, but they brought a lot of stuff to the table, to the point, like I said a couple times now, that during the conference I was like, holy crap, I need a break. Give me 30 seconds to just relax. It was just bombardment after bombardment of a new game, new world premiere, new release date, new stuff, Game Pass, new technology. There's just so much on there, and you can't really fault them for trying to show their entire umbrella, like I said. We had a great time. I can't wait to do it again next year. I can't wait to go to the stuff tonight. It's going to be fantastic.
It's gonna be great.
I can't wait to see more things at E3. We had a blast. So that's my thoughts on the coverage so far. Anything you want to end with, Ains?
No, I think we've talked enough at this point.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing more coverage as we can. We were so busy yesterday. We had no time to do anything.
I barely got to eat. We didn't eat a lot.
I didn't even eat. Yeah, we didn't even eat.
Yeah.
So we were just from one place to another. We have a little more time today, which is why we're filming this video. You'll see some recaps from us, some impressions and other things going up on the site. Remember, seasonedgaming.com/E3 is where we're going to put all this stuff. So be sure to tune in there, and just follow us on Twitter if you're not already, because there's a lot of conversation going on Twitter right now. Pictures, little videos, screen caps, tags, all that thing. So Porsche Power, Trev SG, excuse me.
Yeah, Trev SG.
So if you're not already following us, but that's it.
Yeah, E3 hasn't officially started as far as the conference does. It starts on Tuesday, so you'll catch more, gameplay footage from us off screen.
Lots of gameplay footage coming in the next few days.
We have a couple fun interviews for you too coming, so expect that from us, and hopefully you're watching at home. So thanks for watching, everybody.
Peace.